Hello, welcome to episode 209 of the CraftHouseMagic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and today is the 12th of May. So welcome everybody. I hope you've all had a lovely crafty week since the last time I've spoken to you, and I'm here to share all the things that I've been making in the last 7 days. So today we have some knitting, some crochet, some sewing, a gadget stroke confession section, and blast from the past section, and some information on my shop update, and a little appearance of Jensen at the end of the podcast as usual. So we have a couple of Makalongs going on in the Ravelry group and on Instagram, and I'll leave the hashtags and the information about that in the description bar down below. And we have a winner for the email subscribers to my website for May, and that is Jess, and I've already emailed you, Jess, so you know that you're getting a prize, but I thought I'd announce your name anyway, just so that people know that I've drawn for May. But I'll be drawing a prize every month for those people who are subscribed to my email list. What you do is you just pop to my website, scroll down to the bottom of the page and pop your email in the box there and subscribe to my email list. You'll get an email for whenever I have a shop update, but also you're in with a chance of winning one of the monthly prizes as well. I tend to send you the sock clubs of that particular month, but if you've already purchased those, it'll be something else. So let's get on with the knitting, shall we? I have a finished object, and I did show you this a couple of weeks ago, but I hadn't blocked it yet, and I have now blocked it. So this is the Painting Brick Shawl by Sterenn West, and this was actually knitted for me by my lovely mother-in-law Liz. And this is a mixture of a mini set that I got from Hoard yarn, and that is all the different stripes of colours, and then I've put it with a yarn that is one of my hand-dyed yarn, and then one in between all of the other colours is I Put a Spell on You. And I've actually used an MCN base there because it is lovely and squishy. I do like an MCN base for a shawl, and I just love how this has come out. So I was going for sort of a Halloween-y theme with the minis that I got from Hoard yarn are actually in the theme of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So I thought, wow, I put a spell on you yarn with it, and I think that works really well. It is quite a large shawl, and I was going to show you how I could possibly wear it. I quite often wear shawls just over my shoulders like this, which is lovely. You could put a shawl pin just at the side there to keep it on. I've got some really nice shawl pins in my shop actually. I'll pop a link to those in the description bar down below if you're looking for those. But you could wear it with a shawl pin. You could wear it more like a wrap right around your shoulders like this, which is really nice. And then last of all, I tend to wear things when I've got a coat on or something. So it's the main part of the shawl right at the front, and then wrapped around my neck so that you see all those lovely stripes at the front. So I quite often wear shawls like that as well if I've got a jacket on as well. It's nice and easy to wear, and it doesn't sort of fall off very easily, especially with the longer shawls that have got long sort of ends that wrap round. So I'm so pleased with that. Thank you so much, Liz, for knitting that for me. And she said she really enjoyed knitting this actually. It is pretty self-explanatory once you get into this, into the pattern. Most of it is sort of the same all the way through until you get to the edges, which are slightly more pointy, and the slip stitches are in a different position. So I'm really pleased with that. I'll show you the back as well. You can see that the back is not quite as attractive as the front of the shawl, but you can still see those stripes. So there we go. That's a finished object. And it is a very large finished object as well. Isn't that lovely? So next out of the knitted things that I've got finished is my beret. So this is the Sterenn beret by Avec Anna, and I actually showed you this finished a couple of weeks ago. But I have now blocked it, and it's flattened the top of the beret really nicely so that you can really see those star shapes, which I really like. So this is knitted in a 4-ply weight yarn with a fluffy yarn held double. So I've used a yarn from Hedgerow Yarns, which is like the rainbow colour, and then I've used a fluffy alpaca lace weight yarn held double with that to make it all lovely and fluffy, but it also tones down the colours a little bit, so it's wearable with lots of different things. I'll show you a little bit more closely. There we go, you can see the colours a bit better. Love the top of this. So I've blocked it on a plate, and I did actually, while I was blocking this, and also the shawl as well, I did do a video tutorial. I've recorded a video tutorial, so that should be up in the next couple of weeks or so. So I shall show you what it looks like. I do have a clip on my hair, so it's not going to look brilliant. But you can see how much better it looks now it's been blocked. And I love this little cute I-cord bit on the middle. So I'm really pleased about that. What I did do incorrectly actually was I did a little bit too much rib here. So it does say in the pattern to do so much centimetres, but I did that amount in inches, which was ridiculous. But I am actually quite pleased with how it looks with a slightly deeper rib as well. I did the largest size and it fits me nicely. There's actually quite a lot of room in there. I could have possibly gone down a size, but it's nice and slouchy, and I like that it's not too small, and it doesn't sort of grip too much on my head. I'm not one for hats that much, but I think out of all the hats, berets are slightly more flattering on me, and it'll probably look better when I've got my hair down completely, I think. But you get the idea. Really pleased with how that's come out. So next I have a work in progress to show you. So I've picked up my second triangular blanket, and it is looking like this. I've chosen some really nice sort of jewel tones, and I'm not following my own order of adding the triangles at all. I've just been adding them in random places. Which you absolutely can. I did put instructions in the pattern to sort of do them either in lines or in the shape of the hexagon, depending on how what shape you want your finished piece to be. So I'm going to do this so it is an actual hexagon when it's finished, this particular one. And when you're knitting it, the triangles do stick out a little bit, but when they're blocked they do flatten out really nicely. So this is the triangular blanket, and this is the pattern that I released last year, and it was actually released with the people who ordered the advents first. So the people who ordered last year's advents had the pattern first, and then I released the pattern later in November. I'm really pleased that I've picked this up again. I've really got the sort of need for a little bit of sort of scrappy knitting with putting a little triangle in here and there. It's a little bit like the mitered square Cozy Memories blanket that I used to knit. I wanted to make it quite an easy knit that you don't have to concentrate too much on, and it's just something fun to knit on. Something you can use little scraps of leftover yarn. So these triangles you can use about 3 or 4 grams, and you can actually do it in either the DK or 4-ply yarn, or the instructions are there for those different yarns in order to get a triangle of about this size. You could do it in a thicker yarn if you wanted to. You'd obviously just need to use the appropriate needles. And I am in the process actually of writing a pattern for a half triangle so that it actually has completely straight sides if you want it to. I know a few people have already written their own pattern to make it so the edge is straight by just picking up stitches and sort of doing short rows on the edge to fill the gap in. But I wanted to do a pattern that was actually a half triangle, so I am in the process of writing that, so watch out for that. Any of you who've already purchased the pattern, I'll be doing an update on the pattern, and you'll just get an email with that additional information in. So that is my triangular blanket. Oh, I should show you the back as well. So that is the back of my working one, and you can see that you can still see that sort of where the decreased lines are on the back as well as the front. You can obviously see it a little bit better because you've got those sort of knit stitches showing a little bit more. But I'm going to slip into my blast from the past section because I'm going to show you my finished triangular blanket that I've got, and this is one that's been squared and these colours are sort of like pink tones mixed with some sort of greys and peaches as well. So I've selected some yarns out of my stash, out of minis and also little scraps that are left over from other projects, and put them together to make this one. So as I said, this is the one with the sort of straight edge, and I'm working towards making it so you can fill in these gaps at the sides. They're not quite straight, so you need to do a half triangle for each of those, so I'm working on that pattern. The top edge is actually straight anyway. So that is my blast from the past, and that is the finished triangulum blanket, and it's got the I-cord edging all the way around the edge, and I'll show you the back on that one as well. And that one has been blocked, but I have used this one quite a lot, so it's not the neatest blanket now that I've sort of blocked it but then used it quite a bit as well. So that is the back, but it is a really fun pattern to do, and I have written it for DPN needles, but I'm thinking I'm going to have a go at knitting it with a magic loop method and try and write the instructions for that as well, because some people don't get on with the DPN needles. I have had quite a few people asking me whether I have a crochet version of this pattern. Now, the knitted version has been quite a lot more difficult to sort of work out than it would be to do a crocheted version, and I've actually looked it up, and there are some crocheted sort of triangle blankets that look the same sort of shape as this but in crochet already out there. So I'm not going to bother converting it into the crochet pattern because it's already been done, and it just looks a little bit more special and a bit more different if it is knitted. So I'll leave a link to those patterns that I've already found that are crochet versions of something like this, but I think with it being a knitted triangle blanket, it's quite unique among sort of patterns that are on Ravelry at least. So there we are, that's my triangulum blanket. So now I'm onto the crochet section, and I have literally done this. So this is my little stack of crocheted squares for my Ziggy Interrupted shawl. Now, I've picked 4 colours that I picked up from the East Anglia Yarn Festival that I thought they'd go together really nicely. So these are both called Poison, and they're by Ducky Darlings, and they're on a slightly different base, but they're actually the same colour. This is a darker purple and a slightly lighter purple. This one is a merino yak and silk, and this one is a merino and nylon. This one is the Woolen Witch in Snail's Pace, and this one is the Camel's Yarn in Love Letter. So I thought those 4 would go together really nicely. I want quite a subdued palette for this particular wrap. I shall show you some of these little crocheted squares. It would be easier once I've started to join them together, but they're very cute. And this pattern is a lovely pattern by Sandra Paul, who is from the Cherry Heart podcast, and the Ziggy Interrupted wrap is just really pretty, and I am planning on doing the tassels as well. Hopefully I can actually do more of that next week, so I can show you a bit more progress than just a few little squares. So the next section is sewing section, and I thought I'd show you some of the progress I've been making on my Yellow Brick Road blocks. So all I've managed to do is half a block this week. So previously I'd shown you that I've done 2 blocks, so I need to make 4 to make the complete pattern. So there's 2 blocks that I've made before, and then I've done another half block, so I've got another 1.5 blocks. These take me absolutely forever. So this is the Yellow Brick Road pattern by Helen Butcher, who is Little Patch Pockets, and it is a foundation pieced block. You can see all the paper on the back, and some of these pieces are really tiny, especially in this section here, because there are some really tiny little pieces that you add in to make it look more rounded, if that makes sense. There are loads of threads on this piece, sorry. They will be trimmed off properly when I've actually finished the block. So that is half a block done. I'm actually hoping that in the next sort of period of time where I've got a bit of time to myself to do things, I'll be able to finish the rest of it, because actually this piece here and this piece here has got a lot less pieces in it than the section that I've just finished the last time I went to my sort of quilt group. So that's in progress. So I was planning on doing a table runner, but I'm thinking more and more that I should do a cover for my new sewing machine, because I'm thinking that it's probably going to get absolutely wrecked with Jensen growing up into a toddler and getting his hands on everything downstairs. So I might just make it into a cover for a sewing machine and sort of have it right behind me there so that you guys can see it in the podcast. Anyway, let's go on to my gadget section. So talking about quilting, I have bought a couple of gadgets that are actually confessions and gadgets. So they're merged into one. Bought these maybe a couple of months ago and forgot to confess. So I do apologise for not confessing earlier. So in my local quilt group, we normally have sewing machines out, so we're working on whatever projects we want to, and because I was doing the foundation piecing, I was needing to do lots and lots of ironing. So we normally have an iron that's shared among us, but I thought I'm going to get myself one of those mini irons. So I'm just unwrapping the cord from this so you can see a little bit better. So this is a mini iron that I got from Amazon. Actually, I picked this up from. Whenever I say that I bought stuff from Amazon, they are not affiliate links. I refuse to have affiliate links for stuff like that. I only just put links to stuff that I use or things on my website, and I only really have things on my website that I use as well. So this is a Geronic little iron, and I did actually look at the Prim ones, but I felt that you could get a little bit more for your money if I got a Geronic one, and plus this came with a little rubber stand that if it's a little bit hot you can pop it on there, and also if it's still warm when you want to put it away in your bag, if you're using it when you're out and about, it's handy just to have that rubber cap just to keep the warm away from touching anything else. So there is actually quite a long cable on this iron, and I found that there was plenty for when I was using it the other day at my quilt group, at my local quilt group. So I'm really pleased with how it's working, and I have been using it for a couple of months now. I just forgot to confess, I'm sorry. And I've been using it alongside this wool pressing mat, which I find is really useful. This is for doing sort of piecing though, rather than just standard ironing of anything else. So to do these blocks that I've just shown you, it's really handy, because I can have this right next to me and I'm not have to get up to use the shared iron all the time, and I'm not hogging the shared iron from everybody else then. This is a really thick piece of wool mat, and it smells just like sheepiness, and I love it. And actually, if you look at the reviews of these type of thing, it did say that people were saying, oh, it smells awful. It does not. It smells like wool. I love the smell of sheep. It's lovely. So I got myself a little set, and I'm finding it really useful for when I do pop to my quilt group. And actually sometimes I've been setting up the little iron next to my sewing machine, so I don't have to turn around or go to my bigger ironing board out into the other room. So I do recommend something like this. I will pop links to these in the description bar down below, but like I said, it's not affiliate or anything. It's just something I liked. There's a little catch there, so when you've actually wrapped your cable around it, you can stop it from unraveling, because there's a little clip, and then it comes with a little bag. But I'm tempted to make another little bag that's much prettier than the boring old grey one, just to keep it nice. And that's been living in my sewing machine bag that I take to my quilt group, so that's a really handy thing to have. So that is my gadget for this week, and also confession. But belated confession. So next is my shop update section. So if you're wanting to get the June yarn clubs, they will be available from May the 20th until the 5th of June, and those will be shipped on the 10th of June. So those of you who have already purchased the June yarn clubs, because I did a combined listing of the May and June yarn clubs, they will be shipped on the 10th of June with everyone else's June clubs, and obviously you've also purchased May's as well, so they'll be shipped at the same time. What I will do is I'll do July and August together. I'll do a listing with July and August together on the website as well, if you want to sort of combine months, because it saves a bit of money on postage. But obviously you'd need to wait till the second month of the date until it's shipped. I also wanted to mention that I'm going to have a special little project bag and yarn set that's going to be released next week as well. Next week's podcast I will talk a bit more about it, and I will show you a picture that sort of shows the colours that might be involved in the yarn, and then if you sort of like the picture, the inspiration picture, then you might like to purchase the bag and yarn set as well. So with those sort of little kits to treat yourself that I tend to do, I'm going to do them every season. So I did a spring one earlier this year, and this is the summer one coming up on the 20th of May. There will be a project bag, a medium-sized project bag. You'll have the choice between a drawstring or a zipped version, and a sock set of yarn, and you can choose between the bases of merino and nylon, merino, nylon and Selena, a BFL and nylon, or a DK merino and nylon. So you'll have a choice of things there. It will be a sock set, but you can use it for other things as well. The sock set will sort of go with the project bag, and I will leave it as a secret, but there'll be a song name, a song title for the yarn as well. The bag and yarn will be completely exclusive to the kit, so it's a little special gift to yourself, but it'll be a surprise. But there'll be hints to what the theme is with the art that I'm going to create for next week's podcast to show you before the listing is up in the shop. So that will be up on the 20th of May, the same as the June yarn clubs. So, and now it's over to Jensen and what he's wearing for this week. Well, it's not so much as something he's wearing, but something crafty that he's using quite a lot. So over to you, Jensen. So today, Jensen has got his gorgeous blanket that lovely Kira gifted us, and it is the midwife blanket, and I can't quite remember what the designer's name is. But I will pop a link in the description bar down below, and Jensen loves it. Look at his little face. Yeah. Thank you very much for modelling with us today. Can you say? Oh, are you going to say bye-bye to everybody? Oh, thank you very much, Jensen. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I shall see you in the next episode. Bye!